Go there and hang out, introduce yourself, let them know that you're also in a band. Chances are, just by doing that, saying, hey, love your set, would love to work with you guys. Practice and rehearsal routines.
Now, this is where the rubber hits the road, man. This is where the work starts to play in, because
Correct.
You know, you're not going to be good overnight, and you're certainly not going to find your own groove and your unique. What sets you apart from other groups, even within a half dozen practices? It's going to take hard work,
and it's going to take some time.
I think it's important, like we were talking about in the beginning, to really define the expectations and make sure that everybody coming into it has an understanding of those expectations and is on board with them, because nothing is more frustrating than getting together, sacrificing your time and your energy to get together to rehearse, and you're missing somebody, especially when that same somebody is missing all the time.
Right. So just setting up regular practice schedules, and that's important. That way you always know, and everybody knows, let's say you're going to practice every Wednesday at 7 o'clock at so-and-so's house. Everyone in the band should know on Wednesday at 7 o'clock at so-and-so's house, we're doing rehearsal for an hour or two, whatever. And you could do more than that. The point is that you have a schedule, and try to stick as close to that regular schedule as you can. It may take some getting, working out details like, well, what's your availability? And there may be a point where it's only like one day is available, and that becomes the day that you make that work. But it's important you try to stick to it and don't deviate as much as you can. Like, just kind of keep it solid that way. And if somebody can't make it, then they need to let you know. They need to text ahead or let somebody know, like, hey, I'm either sick, or even further in advance, like, actually, I'm going to be out of town on vacation. So the rest of the band can make decisions whether they want to still do a practice or whatever. But like Matt said, if you show up for a rehearsal under the assumption that, hey, nobody said anything that they weren't going to make it, so you assume everybody's going to be there, and you're all sit around for half of the practice time waiting for so-and-so to show up, then they never show up, or they text you late saying, oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you guys I'm not going to make it. Well, you just wasted everybody's time, and it's not cool. And be sure that you guys understand the importance of rehearsal.
Well, let's move on to our next tip.
What does it say? Get gigs and build a fan base.
This is the fun part.
Yeah. Networking with venues and promoters. So I would almost say, before you get into the promoters side of stuff, I would say network with other bands. And the way to do this, really,
go to their shows.
Yeah, just go to their shows. Find out where they're playing. Let's say they're playing at this bar, and you're a rock band, and they're playing at this bar that apparently likes to have rock bands play all the time. And you go there and hang out. Introduce yourself. Let them know that you're also in a band. Chances are, just by doing that, saying, hey, love your set, would love to work with you guys.
You should always set some time aside during your rehearsal time, and a lot of times it works out best to do it at the end. Once you're done playing, you've run your set, you play the songs, you dedicated some time to writing some new stuff, everybody's getting ready to pack up. Talk about what's coming down the pipe. Have a calendar there that everybody can share, that you can put on the wall, or that you can share, a Google Calendar or something like that. So, or an Outlook calendar, so that everybody knows when the gigs are coming, what are the, what's the time expectation, how long's the set. Everybody knows what's coming down the pike, so that nobody's surprised. It also gives everybody a chance to say, oh, by the way, I've got this coming up, I've got that coming up. But it also gives you a chance to just kind of decompress, talk about what worked, what didn't, what do you guys want to do next time, how are you feeling about this, how are you feeling about that. And keep the lines of communication open. If something's bugging,
I was going to say,
you just got to say it. You got to say it. Don't let things fester. It's just like a relationship. Because if you've got something that's really bugging you about what one of your bandmates is doing or isn't doing, and you just try to keep it to yourself and whatever, it's his thing, whatever, that is going to fester, and it's going to become a lot bigger deal than it needs to be. So communicate.
Communicate is huge, and you can almost start from the very beginning on when you get your first bandmates together and say, look, we've got to set up some ground, like define what role people are going to have, like who's going to do the booking, You know, who's going to handle the money that's earned? Who's going to make sure that we're all on the same page? You know, and like Matt was saying with communication and taking that last little bit to talk about a show coming up, or even having a whiteboard that you can, you know, map out your songs and your set list and have everybody kind of take a snapshot of that. And that's the way they know what their set list is, or if somebody's going to print them out. We used an app that Matt introduced to Hooray Who called Band, which is ironic, but it's an app that people can communicate, and you can share photos, you can share audio files.
It's got a calendar.
It's got a calendar. It's a great app.
It's a fantastic.
It's
oh yeah,
and
absolutely. So if you are in a band and you're looking for a good central place for communication, for file sharing, for photo sharing, for calendars for chat, download the Band app. It's free. It's fantastic.
And I'll see if I can find an image of it and throw it up here on so people can kind of guess where that's at.
And they are not sponsoring us to say that. This is
no, it's not. We're not sponsored by it, but we actually use it. We're just starting out. Maybe we'd be a good cover band, or you know, an opening band for you guys. Give them your number, you know, or if you have a link to like your SoundCloud or some way that they can listen to your music, make sure you share that information. Put it on a business card. It don't matter. Most bands that I run into that I've done this are at least willing to hear you out, you know, like, hey, yeah, cool. They're usually always looking for bands, and sometimes you'd be surprised what kind of headlining bands will struggle to find an opening act. So there's always room to put yourself somewhere. And if you're a multi-genre, or you feel like, yeah, I'm a rock band, but we also kind of do some pop stuff, and we kind of do maybe a little reggae stuff, well, now you've opened up your doors to all kinds of other bands. So, but that is the easiest, it's the single easiest way. And it works for venues too. Like, so let's say you go see this band play, like you've seen them, or you heard about them, or your friends like, hey, have you heard this band? They probably be a good band to play with. Well, go check it out. Take your buddy that knows them. Like, hey, let's go check them out. And go to their show. And if you get there early enough, chances are you might even be able to get in touch with the venue, whether it be the manager or the owner or a waitress or whoever's there is going to know who to talk to about certain stuff, and you can talk to them.
Find out what they want to see from a band. Find out what they want if they
got to do to get a gig.
Right.
You know?
Do you want to see a press kit? Is it an electronic press kit? Do you like physical media? Do you prefer to have, you know, links to videos on YouTube? What do you, or whatever they'd like to do, however they like to investigate your band before you end up getting a gig there.
Right. The other thing with getting gigs and building fan bases, use social media and other platforms to promote your band. Make sure you have a good recording. Make sure you have a good vocal take. Make sure you have a good guitar take right out of the gate. The better you can sound in the recording right out of the gate, the less mixing and engineering and magical hoopla you've got to go through to make it sound polished. And there are some times where a capture is so good, you would think it was mixed, and it wasn't. So,
well, in this day and age now, I mean, there is nothing you cannot learn on YouTube.
Right. Well, and then the other
there's
thing
literally
is
nothing you can't learn.
And here's the thing, like when Matt and I first started doing the music thing, like you didn't really have a studio. We had a 4-track, but that was demo quality. And you're talking about a cassette tape. Like that was the best it was ever going to sound. It was never going to sound great. So if you wanted to sound good, you had to fork over money because you didn't have a studio. You rented one, or you hired an engineer to record your music. And that's what Hooray Who did in the beginning. And we were blessed to meet and interact and have a relationship with a guy named Bruce Kirby, who still operates out of Boho.
Bruce!
Amazing dude. And that experience in itself was just it's like one of those things I always hold to my heart forever. You know, just the experience of being in a studio. It made you feel like a rock star, you know.
Well, and that's the thing,
it was
is
the
that
best
it was,
you ever would sound.
And it's also his commitment to getting the capture right. I remember distinctly when we were recording Wider Than Stockton Gimp Funker several times, Zach just getting frustrated as hell because Bruce would say, "Nope, do it again."
Yes.
Zach would get done with
the take. I think it was Girl Like You, wasn't it?
Okay.
I think it was Girl Like You.
Nope, do it again.
Yeah,
and it was just...
I had one line over and over and over again for like, I don't know how many takes.
Yeah, man.
And then I said something like, funny story about that is, I'm like, what do I got to do? I got to drop my pants or something?
He
He's like,
did,
"Try
too."
it."
Yeah.
So I dropped my
And
pants.
you got it, man.
And that was the take that actually took.
And
Somebody took a picture while it was funny.
Yeah.
That actually was the one that worked.
Well,